Hi, welcome to Straight Talk with Steph, with me, Steph Beatty, property investor and mentor. I'm here today with Neil Thornton of Barnthorn Publishing, and we are going to talk about our first volume of the Women in Property books. So I just want to introduce Neil. In fact, Neil, you can introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Neil Thornton, what I do, property, as we've discussed. So the property, but there's also writing books for the last 10, 11 years. I've been writing books, military history primarily. And from that, I have now set up a publishing company, me and a business partner, Ashley. So we're bringing in other authors. We're up to like nearly 100 books now in the first, just over a year we've been going. Lots have already been released, lots more in the pipeline, including Women in Property. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm into property, I'm into books, love writing books, researching books. And although I have only done military so far, we never wanted to pigeonhole ourselves into just military. And I'm interested in property. The next logical step is books on property. So there's lots of ideas knocking about that. But the first one is Women in Property, Volume 1.
Volume 1, and hopefully how many do you want to do?
We just keep going.
Keep going.
We just keep going, yeah. I mean, you've been in this with this idea from the start with me. We'll get onto that. And the amount of people who want to be involved in it is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The amount of, the feedback we've got, the positive feedback we've got about, wow, this is going to be fantastic. So, yeah, we can't put a number on how many there's going to be. We got up to 4, volume 4, where we had contributors sort of commit to do a chapter. So for the listeners now and watchers, it's 12 chapters. Each one is a different lady in property, in various stages of their property journey.
The journey.
So, we'll get on to the why we're doing it, but it's going to be a real good benefit for a lot of people. When we got to number 4, we thought, okay, let's just stop. Let's get number 1 out first. Yeah. Let's slow down a little bit. But yeah, we can just keep going.
This is really exciting, and I publicly will say thank you for asking me to be involved. It came at a really good time for me. I was removing some negativity out of my life, and I believe that the universe was working in a very strange way, and that the second, within about 5 minutes of texting somebody saying, I don't want to work with you anymore, you messaged me. You said, can I give you a call? Why? Why me?
Why you? Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it was an idea that I wanted to push forward, and we'd met at a networking event. We had then connected on social media, and they were the main 2 reasons, or the only 2 reasons really. We met, and you were very, I remember when we, in the Liverpool PBN, you were just asking lots of questions. What do you do? Why'd you do that? Oh, what's this? And it's just like, boom, boom, boom. You were just so enthusiastic, so keen, and energetic. And that stuck. And then when we, on social media, you've got a really good presence, you're doing a lot of great things. And that was it. It was just because I could see what you were doing.
Thank you. I don't actually remember asking you loads of questions. I do ask a lot of questions. I'm just inquisitive. We did meet at a networking event, and I think for anyone who's listening and doesn't particularly like going to networking events, I think it's really important that you go, because you just never know where that meeting, that connection can take you. So I do feel like the universe is at work there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like you said, the timing for you was just, perfect timing.
Very weird.
And for me as well. So initially I sort of kept my cards close to my chest. So I needed somebody to work alongside this with me. I'm a man, and I didn't want my name on the front cover solely, Women in Property by Neil Thornton.
Well, that's why I said who's writing your introduction.
So I did have you in mind for the introduction. You were the first person I came to write a chapter. But in the back of my head, I was thinking, well, we need a woman to run with this. Somebody to drive it forward. And you had the same sort of idea as me. And you're not backwards and coming forward. So you straight away, who's doing your intro?
Well, something special for me. I know we talk about not having ego, but it is a bit of an ego thing for me. I'm like, oh my God, I was an English teacher, and now I get my name on a book, the first of a book I will ever have my name on. Yeah. But also it's a privilege to be able to write the introduction alongside yourself, but also introduce 12 chapters of 12 incredible women all doing different things in their journey. And I know we say, oh, it's the journey, and we take the piss, but really it is a journey. And it's they're all on their own roads to their own destinations. What I really liked, obviously you said, yeah, write the introductions, that's great.
Yep.
But for me, it's more about, yes, we can all get our names out there and, our businesses out there and showcase what we're doing. But it's also about representing those women in that chapter, or in each of the chapters. And I already had in mind, I know you had a couple of women that you'd already asked for volume 1. I knew straight away, I thought I can come up with a list of women for at least 3 or 4 books there, all at different stages, women who are doing incredible things like, HMO conversions, commercial to resi conversions, title splits, to women doing ordinary bread and butter stuff like me, social housing, buy-to-lets, service accommodation, which I think is dying a bit of a death now, now that the hype is over. So yeah, and even I've got one client of mine who's in there, Stacey, who has got her first buy-to-let, and her and her husband have done amazing with her. So an array of women with different voices, all with a story to tell.
Well, that was always the idea. So what I didn't want was, okay, here's 12 women who are all multimillionaires doing this. Because for me, the one of the main driving, one of the main aspects of the book is to inspire people. People will read that book who are in property, and there's something for everyone in there, and hopefully that'll be a help for them. But there's a lot of people wanting to take that first initial step, and if they read about somebody who's, doing it, it's like somebody wanting to get into business and reading a book about Lord Sugar. Yeah. And they're like, oh, God, well, I'd prefer to read something about somebody who's a little bit down, further down the ladder. And you think, I can do that. Yeah. I can achieve that. That's just a step above where I am, or a couple of steps above where I am. Don't want it, because it's daunting. It can be very daunting for people. I didn't want people to feel daunted and put off. So, yeah, there's a wide range of strategies. There's a wide range of people on their journey, different and different distances on their journey. And that, I think for me, that's one of the main appeals of the book.
And what I really like as well is that it shows that property opens more doors than just the doors to the houses you're buying, because some of the women in the book have had other different business ventures. It started with property, and they've thought, hang on a minute, I'm running a business, I'm an entrepreneur, I can do something else as well. And it's about that journey that they go on, the different doors that it opens for them. And obviously they talk about money as well, which, as we know, is a very taboo subject. Nobody likes talking about money, particularly women. Women don't particularly like talking about money, and they talk about what they're making or what they've made in different property deals.
Well, we asked them to, didn't we? We said at the very beginning, what we want you to do is no bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't fluff anything up. If a deal went sideways, tell us. If you lost money on a deal, tell us. Don't sugarcoat anything. Property isn't all roses. We don't want people to come into this thinking, oh, wow, we're going to be a millionaire next week. You're not. No. So we just said, keep it raw, keep it honest. They were the 2 words that we kept impressing on them. Keep it raw, keep it honest, don't bullshit. And that's what they've done.
And even though property does put people out their comfort zone, actually writing a chapter for a book has really put some of them out their comfort zone, hasn't it? Yeah. But that's been, for some of them, all right, they buy houses, properties, they do all sorts of incredible things in the property industry. But for some of them, just writing a chapter in a book was one of the biggest challenges, but also greatest achievements that they've ever had, which is really... I felt a certain sense of pride when, the women that I'd asked that I know personally have written them, because I'm like, do you know what? You've just pushed yourself again. You've done something that, for me, I didn't find it too difficult, having been an English teacher. But for some, it's not natural for some women to just sit down, put pen to paper and tell their story.
I think going off feedback and discussions with the women, a lot of them, yes, they enjoyed doing it. They were nervous at first, but once they got going, it just flowed. It was just literally just tell your story. Yeah. And a lot, it's a pattern. A pattern emerges between them all. Imposter syndrome is there. Not just with women. I think it's with a lot of with people in general. But then and one said to me, and this is in the book anyway, but it wasn't until I actually wrote everything down on paper into a chapter, what I've done and what I'm doing, I thought, oh wow, actually, I haven't done too bad.
It like
You
it
know?
solidifies itself in front of them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And women, we do get imposter syndrome. We've both written in the introductions. We know it's a very male-dominated industry, and there are a lot of women doing incredible things, ambitious things. But a lot of women are being accused of also being a bit masculine in a space, well, where they shouldn't be. But it is a masculine space. It's male-dominated, and I think when they write down what they've done and they think, wow, I've achieved that. But equally, I've achieved that despite the fact that I'm not meant to. Women aren't really, or well, we are not meant to achieve in a space that isn't designed for them. And property industry is not a space designed for women.
No. I mean, this is one of the reasons why, this sort of idea, I had this idea, was networking events, because women, more often than not, are the quieter there. You're an exception.
Apart from me.
No, but there'll be a group of people talking. There'll be a woman, there'll be two women. They stand there, and they're not in the conversation like men. Men, they're all beating the chests. I've done this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. And there's a woman stood there, maybe feeling a little bit intimidated, a little bit daunted, and they shouldn't. But it's the way it is. And they've done a lot more than anybody else in that group.
Well, they're sometimes can be the quietest.
Yeah.
I often think though, whose responsibility is it to make their voice heard? Is it theirs? Or is it the responsibility of those around them to make sure that everyone has like equity of opportunity?
Yeah.
But that's what I think this book brings, is that equity of opportunity. I don't like to talk about equality more. I prefer the equity. It brings that it's given them the opportunity to have their voice heard. So if they are at a networking event and they think, oh, actually, I can't really get involved in this conversation, or I don't really know what they're talking about, or I do, but I can't quite get involved. It's not my kind of space. Well, actually, they've got their voice published in a damn book now.
Well, this is the space. That's
Yeah.
the whole reason for it.
Yeah.
Is this is their space.
Yeah.
To tell their story.
And going back to what you said, then you said, we had 2 rules, just raw, uncut, authentic, no bullshit, no fluff. We see enough of that in property.
Mm-hmm.
We see it with property education training companies. We see it at networking events. We see people fabricating things that just don't exist just to make themselves look better.
Yep.
But yeah, it's important that we tell those stories, particularly for women as well, because whilst I don't want to be stereotypical, and this doesn't necessarily apply to me because I'm not a mother of human children, dog kids, dog children, dog babies, but not human children. For women, we carry a lot of mental load. We wear a lot of different hats. And whether we have support partners or not, or support systems or not, a lot of the time women take on that different hat wearing, the different burdens, the different stresses and strains. Couple that with property as well. When you then therefore see it on paper, it is something to be celebrated. You've given them that space. What gave you the idea though? What was it? Because I know you were saying it's male dominated, and we wanted to give women, a voice that can be published.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Was there a commercial aspect to this as well though? If we're being honest, is it something that no one else is doing and there's a space to make money there?
Well, for me, the books, I mean, people think I wrote some best-selling books, military history books. People think I live in a palace and wipe my arse with notes,
Oh, you
It's not-
don't?
No,
Oh,
not
I
yet.
don't.
No. So, is there money in it? So let's rewind a little bit. The military history thing was always a hobby. It wasn't a job. It was alongside other things. Writing articles, writing... researching for other people's books, and that progressed to writing my own books, which done well. But you spend money. I travel the world researching. Lived in Africa, Kenya for a little bit, researching somebody I wrote a biography of. You don't think about it as a commercial thing. You think about, I need to do this justice, and that was it. Then as you progress, we set up the company. So we take on things that, as long as it's going to lose us a lot of money, as long as we know we're going to break even at least, and something on top will be good. But
So it's more of a passion.
It's a passion. It's a passion, and we like putting stories out there or books out there that we feel need to be told. And again, going back to the military thing, I don't mean to keep going back to it, but we're putting things out there that have been rejected by all the publishing houses. Oh, no one's going to buy that. Well, there might be 100 people who buy it.
Yeah.
And it's historically important. So it deserves to be out there for that one person who it will be a benefit to. Now, don't get me wrong, that this what we're doing is going to be a benefit to a lot of people, and it will be a success. And it's just taken off. Initially it was just the idea of a book, and from the interest, this has now spawned into something much bigger.
Yeah.
So will it make us money? Yeah, I would hope it does. We've spent a lot of time on it.
I think it's going to benefit, obviously, aside from money. Yeah, for me, I'm thinking it's never a money thing. It's just a passion, and making sure that there are women out there having the voice heard in this male-dominated industry. It's going to be for women to read, no matter what stage of the journey that they're in, but also men.
Exactly. That's a great point, and I was wanting to mention it myself. It's not aimed just at women. Anybody wanting to get into property will learn something. Anybody already in property will learn something. Like I say, there's something for everyone. So primarily, yeah, women will probably feel more comfortable reading about what other women have done and are doing, but it's for men as well. So, your things in there are like, it's a main, I'm not going to say a problem, but it's a hurdle, is juggling business with children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is addressed in there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, a woman's going to relate more to that than a man. But yeah, it's aimed at everyone.
Yeah, because obviously everybody's got different lives. Some people have got children, some people haven't, some people are going at it alone, some people aren't. But what I also really want to impress is that even though it's written by the voice of 12 different women, myself included, a lot of them also talk about the male support that they've had. So I joke a lot and I say property's a cockfest. It's full of men coming in, and I'll just say it as it is because it's my podcast, swinging their dicks about. Mm-hmm. And thinking and pissing in every corner like it's their territory. But there are some brilliant men out there, yourself included, my business partners included. A lot of these women, myself included, have talked about how, yes, this is my business or journey, but actually I'm in business with my partner as well. So I'm in business with Phil. So it's not like a men-hating book. It's a book where we can acknowledge we have some systemic challenges with it being a male-dominated industry, but in the same breath, we acknowledge the men in our lives that are in business with us, or we are doing that business together.
Yeah, I mean, a lot, if not almost all in there, are working with the partners towards the goals, not just property, but, people that are in there are writing about their other businesses, or a business prior to property that got them into property, or people have moved on from property, got a portfolio, they're happy to go on to other things. Mm-hmm. And it's, those things are with the partners.
Yeah.
And they do mention that as well in there. One lady said, they're very successful, they're a couple, well-known couple, doing a lot of things, and they play to each other's strengths and weaknesses. So one will do, you do what you can do. Both bring a lot to the table, but everybody sort of is drawn towards the male. And she said, I want to be known as insert name, rather than the wife of X.
Lindsay.
No.
Is it Lindsay?
No.
Yeah, because she talks about that as well.
She does as well.
Yeah.
So there's more than one in there.
Yeah.
That actually say that. I want my own identity, because I'm always considered, there's such and such his wife.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I'm me.
Yeah.
And I'm just as involved as the man.
And I had a bit of a problem with this now. So obviously my whole brand has moved away from the property company name, and it's now Steph's, the property teacher, podcast Straight Talk with Steph. And I sometimes feel a bit guilty because I feel like I'm leaving Phil out of a lot of things. So I like to acknowledge him as well. And I did acknowledge him in the book. And that was important for a lot of the women in the book as well, to make that acknowledgement. It's like, yes, okay, I might be doing X, Y, Z on my own, but I have this person next to me helping me. And if it wasn't for that person, I wouldn't be where I am. Or I would, but I needed a bit of help. And I think, particularly I can mention Lindsay. There's a couple of other women in the book. We don't want to be defined by our other halves or our better halves. We want to be defined by who we are. And again, that equity of opportunity. So I want to thank you. I've said this before, for asking me and letting me do the introductions. I know that was the first thing I jumped at. But for me, it's a privilege, because I probably am a feminist. Obviously, I don't hate men. I just like empowering women. I like seeing women do well. I want to see women achieve. I don't believe in competition. I believe in collaboration. And that's what the book has given me. But it's also given me the opportunity to read 11 other stories, and in the forthcoming books, more stories from more women. Just, I like to say this, they're shattering their own glass ceilings. They're not waiting for a seat at the table, they're building their own damn table. And I love it. So I want to read to you some of the reasons that why they wanted to get involved in the book. So I've got Lauren. She said, for me, I thought it was an amazing opportunity to share my story. I think it's important as women in a male-dominated industry to have our voice heard. Everybody's journey in property is different, and I thought mine might just resonate with someone out there who will then take the chance and jump at it themselves. Lauren is also a primary school teacher, as you know. Also, being a primary school teacher, I will feel incredibly proud to tell the children I teach that I am a published author, something I never ever thought I would achieve, and show them that anything is possible if they put their mind to it. Like, that is, to be able to, that's so good, to be able to go into a classroom and say, look, Mrs. in this book. We've got Jessica. Working on the chapter has just been a powerful experience, showing me how far I've come. I want to share my story so that it inspires others to take that first step towards building a property empire. Go for it, create it, and build the best version of yourselves. So again, Jessica does mortgages as well, doesn't she? So she's another business.
She's an absolute workaholic.
Yeah.
And she's great.
Yeah.
She's great, and she's probably one of those, in fact, she is one of those who suffers from imposter syndrome. And when you look at her portfolio, the size of it and what she's doing, there's no reason she should feel like that.
Yeah.
But she does.
Because I think as well, it's easy to compare yourself. For women, I think sometimes we have a bit of a comparison and we think, oh, I'm not doing as well as that person, or I'm not doing as well as I could be. I think sometimes we're our own worst critics, aren't we? Stacey. So Stacey, I have to give a bit of background for anyone who's listening, is my property coaching client. I've worked with Stacey and her partner Phil for a couple of years now, and they're doing incredible things. They have their first buy-to-let refurbed and refinanced for a 36% ROI, which is probably better than any buy-to-let, apart from me money in, money out ones. And now they're looking at flips as well. So she's come a long way, because she does actually, we all get imposter syndrome. When Steph and Neil invited me to write a chapter in this book about women in property, I was a bit hesitant, but I believe when positive opportunities present themselves, you should always grab it with two hands. Giving something back to the world, and my story heard, will hopefully inspire regular women just like me to get into property. It is possible. Leave a lasting legacy for my kids, and hopefully they will see their mum as a true inspiration. And I think what she says there is regular women. They're just
ordinary women.
I mean, what is ordinary? I don't even know, but just normal people doing not normal, extraordinary things.
People who never thought, a year ago, 10 years ago, they never imagined themselves to be doing what they're doing, but they are.
It's bizarre. When I think of what I was doing, I was teaching poetry, Shakespeare, the occasional phonics, and now I do what I do. It's just absolutely mental. And then we've got Tash. She said she did have some doubts as to whether anyone would want to hear her story, but storytelling is so powerful. I will hopefully inspire others to take their first step. Sarah, I jumped at the chance to write this book. She's doing some incredible things, Sarah Harvey, isn't she? It's been on my vision board at the start of the year, but never in a million years did I think I would actually achieve it. To get my story heard for me, and to be open and transparent about the real side of property, is crucial. Hopefully the beautiful people reading it resonate with some parts and be inspired. This is ultimately my life's purpose. Christy, I felt honoured to be asked to write a chapter. I felt like a novice in property compared to others. There you go. It's that imposter that we feel again. But I want to inspire those wanting to start out. It made me look back and realise how far we've come. And Karen, who I know you're working with on another book as well. Karen's got a couple of books coming out. It's been a privilege to be part of the first volume of Women in Property. I was thrilled when I was asked to share my property journey so far. It's not always the glamorous get rich quick ideal that's often sold, which unfortunately it is. It's hard work, especially as a woman. Success and failure can feel like you're dangling on a pendulum at times. However, by sharing my story, including the failures along the way, I truly hope to be able to inspire other women who may not know if property is for them. There are many routes to success in property, and it's important to remain open and flexible to take the opportunities as they present themselves. If my story even helps one person, I will be thrilled. So there's like a resonating sort of theme there, isn't there? Like, who wants to hear my story? Who, you know, looking back at look how much I've achieved.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like to write books or sign up authors, you know, pitch ideas to authors and sign them up to write a book that I want to read, that where I feel like, why is no one writing about this? And they're the books. You know, it's a book I'd want to read.
Yeah.
I know we'll do other things. I'm not going to mention them. Then we won't mention them, but we've got other ideas.
Oh, we can mention them. Some of them.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a similar one that I'd like to do about business.
Yeah.
Because all the books that you do read about business are usually ones by multi-millionaires, and they're talking about things that the ordinary person cannot really relate to.
Yeah.
So let's get people that people can relate to.
Well, funnily enough, I've got another interview today with Danielle Carrigan, who I think would be perfect for that book as well. So can I write the intros for those ones, please, Neil? Just want me name on all the books. No, I think this is a great thing that you're doing. I'm glad that what I really like is that you and Ashley are men in business, and you've actually given a space to empower women to have their voices heard. And I think, again, we're shattering our own glass ceilings. They should all be super proud of themselves. So this book is going to be out December 2024. Ready for Christmas?
100% ready for Christmas. The exact dates we don't know yet, but we've even got the front cover.
Yeah.
Can't you do one of them things where you say, and it pops up?
The front cover.
It's done, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's done, it's great.
Yeah.
It's vibrant. We're very close to publishing it.
Oh, we had some discrepancy over the colour, didn't we?
And the design, and the text, and the pretty much everything else.
Sorry about that.
No, it wasn't. I would say more. Hey, maybe it's because I'm a man.
Well, if I may, this is not a criticism, but you said, I think like retro sort of 60s pastel colours.
Yeah.
And I was thinking no, and then we did a vote with the women. Pastel?
Yeah, so I thought pastel. I was thinking. I wasn't thinking 1960s, but when you said it, I thought, yeah. It
reminds me of women getting washing machines for their birthday, in those ads. Yeah.
So I was thinking more like, a pink, a blue, a yellow, a green on a shelf.
Would it look pretty?
On a shelf. But so will what we've done. You know, it's better.
Bright,
I'll admit
bold.
that.
Yeah. That's as I thought. They're not going to want the soft colours. We need something that on a shelf is going to stand out, and epitomise the boldness of the women to go out and actually, again, shatter their own glass ceilings, do their own thing and create their own mark on the world. So thank you. So how can people follow you and your book publishing company?
Yeah, so we're on all the social media platforms, and we are Barnthorn Publishing on there. And if anybody wants to submit an idea for a book, they can do that as well. We've got our own website, Barnthorn Publishing, and it's submissions@barnthornpublishing.co.uk.
Lovely. So give them a follow, guys, and keep an eye out for Women in Property Volume 1 coming Christmas 2024. We've already got Volume 2, Volume 3, and probably more lined up. So keep them coming. And if you are a woman in property and you want to get involved, give us a shout. You can follow me at Steph the Property Teacher, or you can visit www.property-school.com. Thanks.